Hello everyone, it's Dove again. So I thought I would make a review video about my new 12 volt compressor fridge freezer unit. It's a dual zone here, and I got this one because I like having the two different doors. Most of the dual zone systems only have just the one door, and so when you open that, you're accessing both of them whether you need to or not. And I don't really think that that's too energy efficient, and I don't like that idea. So this is the only model that I could find of the brands that I could afford that had the two different doors. The only other thing I could really find was like Yeti, and that's out of my price range. So this was called Koryosh in the Amazon listing, but it is not Koryosh. It's actually mocked. I'm sure they're all made by the same company, and they just put different labels on it, and you can just barely see it. It's written on there too. But this is 52 liter, and that would be like 54 or 55 quarts. And this is the instruction manual, quote unquote. It's really sparse. I don't like that there's no company information, there's no customer service. This is a non-returnable item. Like if you get it and it doesn't work, you can send it back through Amazon, but basically this is non-returnable. It would just have to be a lemon and not working at all for you to be able to return it. But there's nothing, no website, no phone number, not even a name. And so I'm not real impressed with that. The main thing I guess I don't like is the fact that you can't set the freezer temperature. Sorry about the rain if you can hear that. I put on my Rode mic with my muff, but it's starting to rain and you might be able to pick that up. Sorry about that. And so I don't like the fact that you can't set the freezer temperature. You set the refrigerator temperature, and the unit itself sets the freezer temperature to whatever it thinks is a good temperature. It's really strange. I've never seen anything like it. But yeah, once you set the refrigerator temperature, it sets the freezer accordingly. And that was kind of confusing, but whatever. It's just unique. But they've got one major design flaw is how they have the units set up. On all the other units that I've seen that are dual zone, they tell you when you have the divider in there, they tell you to make your freezer compartment the one closest to the compressor and have your refrigerator compartment further away. This is actually the total opposite. It selects which side is going to be the freezer, and it's that side. And then the refrigerator is over here. So it's totally backwards, and that is causing problems with the functionality of it, because this side gets colder. So I set this at 40 degrees, and it's actually 36 to 37 in there. And then where it says, you know, I think it's going for a target temperature of 0, basically. So it's choosing 0 degrees Fahrenheit for in here, but it's ranging anywhere from 3 to 6 degrees, and so it's warmer over here than it should be, and it's colder over here than it should be. So that's definitely a design flaw. I'd love to see that fixed, but I don't even know who this company is. I don't think it'll ever be fixed. So you kind of get what you pay for here. This was $367 compared to a Yeti, which is almost $1,000. So I'm just, kind of dealing with it. I wanted to go over the dimensions for the width from side to side with the handles, because the handles don't come off. It's 29 inches. It says 28.5, but I'm rounding up. And then from the front to the back, it's 17 inches. And then the height is 19 inches. And you can run it off of both AC and DC. It's got a vent here and in the back in the same location. And then it's got the vent right here. You can hardly see that because of the bad lighting, and there's just the single outlet. I'm sorry, I should have had a light over here so I could show you. There's just the single outlet, so it's either 110 or 12 volt. You just have to swap out the adapters and the cables. The 110 volt, it's actually only 6.5 feet long for the cord, which is a little weird because on my Ausranvik, both the cables were really, really long, like this one, and this is about 11.5 feet. So for some reason the 110 volt cord is half that length. And this cable for the DC is actually really nice. It fits in the Jackery outlet really well, whereas my Ausranvik, when I plugged it in, it was actually kind of loose, and it was always kind of in danger of being knocked. And so this one fits actually much better. I'm not going to be running this refrigerator on my Jackery. I'm just testing it on the Jackery 500 right now because the power station that I'm going to use for it is not here yet. It's still in production. And so when I first tested it out, I ran it on the 12 volt, and it was running at about 38 to 40 watts. And I ran it all night, and it went down to 10% in the morning, and it had been about 14 hours, but that included the time it took for this to cool down, which was quite a while. This is not an ideal refrigerator, so you know, it took several hours for it to get all the way down to temperature and to even out and everything. So I would definitely cool this off in your house if you can in a 110 volt before you go putting it into your car. But then you have to be really careful not to disturb the Freon, or then you'll have to wait for it to plug it in. I let this sit for 48 hours out of the box before I turned it on, just to make sure that the Freon was all settled and everything. And so you can see here, now I'm testing it on my 110 volt, and it's running anywhere from 50 to 70. I've been sitting here watching it, and it fluctuates from 50 to 70. And then when it's not on, the only thing running is the inverter, and that's about 4 watts on this Jackery 500. And so that was the power consumption. I'm trying to remember everything. I've actually taken this video like 4 different times, and I haven't been happy with any of them for one reason or another. The weight is 38 pounds. I can just barely pick it up and move it when it's empty. I'll have to have help getting it into my rig. And then once I get it into the rig and I make sure it's cooled down, then I will fill it with food. And this is the extra one that's going to be coming out of my tailgate. And I already have the Ausranvik, but it's only a refrigerator or freezer, and it's going to be up behind my driver's seat, and that'll be just a refrigerator, and that'll be my main food refrigerator. And this is for the overflow and the extra and the stuff like my supplements and stuff that I need to keep cold. And then I wanted to have a freezer unit too, so that I could have my ice packs and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, because of the way that they have this set up, it's pretty inaccurate in here. But I have my thermometer here. If you see that 12 degrees, that is a remote thermometer that I have in my house freezer here in the garage, and that's perfectly fine. That 12 degrees is keeping my ice packs frozen solid, and my ice cream's frozen, and I'm not having a problem with it at all. And so the fact that it's not 12 degrees in here is no big deal. So this inconsistency is actually going to be fine. You can see it's 86 degrees. It's actually kind of dropping. It was 89 in here earlier. The humidity is 75%. So this thing is really having to work hard, and it's doing a pretty good job. And so if you want to look at the internal temperatures, it says 39 in the fridge, and it's actually 35. So that's quite a bit of difference. And you can see already there's frost forming, and that's because of the humidity, and there's really just not a lot I can do about it besides turn it off and defrost it. But the internal dimensions are the same on both sides, excepting for this little hump where the compressor is. So here the width is 8.5 inches wide, and then from front to back is 13 inches, and then from here down to the bottom there is 15 inches. And but this seems a little bit like wasted space. I'm sure I'll be able to find something, probably like my oils and stuff that I have to keep cold, but that's only 2 inches right there. 2 or 3 inches maybe. It's actually deeper. If you can see, my hand goes in deeper, so it from here to here is only 8.5, but from here to in there it looks to be, yeah, that's about 2 inches. So that might actually be 3 or 4 inches. But then, you know, you've got this separator here, so I guess it might be easier to get to it if you just leave that separator out. But this right here is about 6.5 inches, and from here to here is 7.5 inches. And I can tell already that it does not like this humid environment at all. I'm not sure if I'm probably just going to have to make a Reflectix cover or something for it, because there is no pre-made bag like I have it with my Ausronvik. And so I'll just have to wrap it with Reflectix to get it to be more efficient. And then this side, see, there's no problem with them staying closed. This one is a little bit looser than the freezer, but look at this. Even on the bumpiest road, that is not that's not going to come undone. I mean, that's taking quite a bit of force. It doesn't take that much force for the refrigerator side, but still, I don't think I'm going to have a problem with anything opening up. So again, from the bottom to the top is 15. This is 8.5, and this is 13 from here to the back. You've got your basket, and the temperature in here says -5, but it's actually almost 5. So it's off quite a bit. You can see that. It's definitely not accurate, but it's serviceable. At 5 degrees, I'm fine with it. And the reason why this stays closed so well is because of these little tabs right here on either side. And that's actually what helps it stay closed. And so, yeah, that one's not quite as hard, but still, I guess I'll keep an eye on this one, but I don't think I'm going to have a problem with it. So that was the temperature and internal dimensions. What else did I want to mention? Sorry guys, it's really hot and humid, and I'm just kind of getting brain foggy at this point. Yeah. Okay, so I don't know if I mentioned that or not. That's 25 liters, and that's 27 liters. And there are no lights on the inside. This is the first refrigerator that I've seen that does not have any kind of light on the inside, and I found that really strange. Even my cheapy Ausronvik had some kind of light that came on when you open it, but there's nothing on either side of this. So that's a bummer. So if I have to get in it at night, I'll just use my flashlight or something, I guess. Oh, and I just wanted to mention that when I first turned it on to cool it down, the numbers on the freezer, this the only one that was changing. So it was taking this side and cooling it down first, and then it switched over and cooled down the refrigerator. The refrigerator button did, or the display, it was going down a little bit as the freezer was dropping, but you could tell that it was doing the freezer first, and then it switched over there, and that started dropping even quicker. The buttons are really touchy. There's no protection on them, so this needs to be protected from like any kind of animal that might want to sit on top of it, because it's very easy to just set it. That's how you set the the temperature, you just push the set button once. So if your cat or your dog sits on it and then it happens to push one of these buttons, they'll be changing the temperature on it. And so I set it at 40. I think it's trying to get it at 0. Again, there's no way to set the freezer temperature. If you do set button twice, you can change it from eco to the high speed. I've been running it on the eco mode this whole time. And then when I first got it, it was in Celsius, so I had to change it to Fahrenheit. And you push the set button and the down button simultaneously for 5 seconds, and it has to be perfectly simultaneously. It's very touchy. And then that will enable you to change it from Celsius to Fahrenheit. And so I went ahead and did that. There's not too many other options. Again, it's just really kind of sketchy. And I hope it's just good enough, you know, like I just need it to be good enough. It does have the battery protection. The default is medium, basically. And that's really important if you have it plugged into your car battery. I'm not going to have it plugged into the car battery, so that doesn't matter, but the power stations that I'm using for my refrigerators, the plugs are regulated, and so I don't need the battery protection. It won't ever turn off because of the battery. So I think that was it, guys. If you have any questions, just let me know. Again, no company information, just very sparse. I haven't gotten an error code yet. Hopefully I won't get one. It doesn't say anywhere that it can be at an incline, and so I'm wondering if this is going to be really fussy if my rig isn't level. But I have leveling blocks, and so if I need to, I'll level out my rig just so that my refrigerator will still be functioning. Alright guys, I hope that was it. Take it easy. Talk to you later.